Yeah, yeah. So, what do you mean by ethics? So, software engineering, I said rules, guidelines, everything you know, right? So, what does ethics have to do with software engineering? Is it really required? Yes, ethics means values, principles. Correct. So, don't you think it is somewhat absurd? You're having ethical principles in software development. Rules, first of all, you're learning rules and procedure for software development. In that, also, you're having ethics. Yeah, okay. 67 people. Fine. I'm trying to record. I don't know something, some issue is coming. Okay, let's see. So today you have a topic software engineering ethics. So first, first of all, like what you all people said, what does ethic means? Ethics means values, principles, like what you said. Why is this ethics required in software engineering discipline? Fine. See, software engineering, the first point says software engineering involves wider responsibilities than simply the application of technical skills. So rather than only having your development or technical or learning programming language, in software engineering you learn other things also. That is why ethics or values or principles is very much important in software engineering. Can you give examples wherein software engineers or software companies have not been ethical, or somewhere you think ethics is required? Okay, from your point of view, is ethics important in software engineering? See, I need a discussion. If you simply hear, no, then it will be like all of you will be sleeping. I can keep on trying to explain and you will all be sleeping. So, Kaja Muhyiddin says, yes, it is required. Hmm. I think in newspapers, every now often you keep on reading that certain software companies do not follow ethical procedures, or certain companies are not ethical. They some or the other instances they give, or some or the other people put case on certain companies, take legal action, saying that they are not ethical. Right? Yes, I hope you have all heard of it or read about it. Do you people read newspapers or news? And you need not have to read newspaper. You have lots of means to get information nowadays. Correct? Yes. Fine. So what we say is we have to be ethically and morally responsible if you want to be a respected professional engineer. And you have to behave in a honest and ethical responsible way so that you are respected as a professional. Ethical behavior is more than simply upholding law, but involves following a set of principles that are morally correct. What does that mean? So ethic means does not mean that yes, I'm abiding to the rules and principles of the government. So am I ethical only if I follow the rules and guidelines? Yeah, Does it mean like that? No, right? Let's say, for example, I am sharing certain data, or I browse certain net, and I get their email IDs. Someone asks, my friend only, or I am only doing a project, let's say. I will take the information what I have obtained from you to do my project. Even though I am not causing any problem for you, or even though I'm not causing problem or trouble to you or doing anything, do I, do I have moral rights or ethics to take your data? Yes. It is not ethical, right? Without your permission, I'm using your data. So there are certain things you should, I mean, there are certain things you should follow as a software engineer. Some of them are, first one is confidentiality. Nowadays, I think you will read this so many places. Somewhere you can tell me example wherein they say confidentiality is breached or something like that. Yes. Can someone give an example somewhere where the confidentiality is breached? For example, let's say the employer and the client, or the company and the customer. Facebook, okay. Yes, Facebook, okay. Yes. See, Facebook may say that, yes, okay, I don't know Chinese, what does it mean? Yes. Now, they may take when you signing to create your account or Facebook, they may say so many places that we will use your data only for some analysis purposes or something like that. Okay, but knowingly or unknowingly, if the customer or the company, I'm sorry, the company uses your data, then it is a breach of confidentiality. Let's say, for example, there may be, most of the times nowadays, there is a confidentiality agreement, right, between the customer and the company. Assume, okay, now that is what happens, right? Nowadays, there are so many. Yes, for advertisement purposes. Yes, they might say you have agreed for a confidentiality agreement. You will allow for non something like data, but still, it is something you're breaching the confidentiality of your customer. Let's say, for example, now US court is asking Facebook to give certain data, right? Or the companies. The court asks the software company. That is what is happening, right? So many places now. Let's say, for example, the government, Indian government, they are asking for bank details or of some person. Yes, Malia, or some person, that Modi or someone like that. Right? But now the bank has a confidentiality agreement with the customer that they will not disclose. Are you getting my point? What will it happen? If the bank gives, then it is breaching the confidentiality agreement. If they don't give, they are not adhering to the government. So it depends upon. Okay, but whatever it is, most of the times the company should not relieve confidential details of the customers. Now, government, it is fine. What happens if they are relieving the company is relieving the data of the customer to a competitive customer? Let's say, for example, is working on some automobile company, something like Bosch. Okay, what happens if they release that data to the competitor, maybe GM Motors or something like that? It is a breach of confidentiality, right? So whatever it is, they have to respect the confidentiality. That too, even though if there is an agreement or no agreement, they have to take care of it. Next is competence. So what do I mean by competence? Can someone say? Read it out in the slide. Yes, competence. Are you people listening? You're able to see my slide? Competence means now, let's say, for example, I have a startup company. Okay, even though I cannot do a complex project or a complicated project, I tell to a customer, yes, I am capable. Show them that I have done some dummy projects and say I have done, and take out the customer's confidence and try to see here. I'm trying to misinterpret my level of confidence or level of competence. Even though I am not capable of doing something, I tell them that I am capable and accept the work. Now, here you are betraying the customer. So you should never not knowingly accept a work which is outside your domain or outside your work area. Let's say, for example, now most of the companies which work for motors or something like that will be Bosch or GM, or let's take for example medical imaging components or software. Most of the times it is General Medicals or GM, they come up with the software. Let's say for Infosys simply bids for that, saying that I'm competent enough without having enough knowledge. That is what one of the things ethics we should follow, that we do not misinterpret our level of competence. Next is intellectual property rights. Whenever we are developing a software, we should follow the laws of the government. That is, if government of India, if they are working in US, they will follow the rules there in the US government, right? So they should always follow or be aware of local laws. Local laws, this is one thing. The other thing is intellectual property rights. What is intellectual property rights? See, you can have a property right or ownership for a house, building, a plot or something like that. Similarly, you can have an intellectual property rights for your something like your thoughts or your ideas, for your development like that, through patents and copyright. So any company should take care of intellectual property rights. Let's say, for example, now there is a patent only on a newest technology. The company should not claim that we are the owners of that patent, or we are the owners of that technology. So that thing should be taken care of. So the third point is intellectual property rights. Any doubts in this? I think this you would have heard everywhere: intellectual copyrights violation. Let's say, for example, okay, I will give you an example, real time. Last week I was working on a department website. Okay, I needed a image for a AIML course. I hope, yeah, I wanted to bring to your notice. See, our department is having the AIML course started from this year, and there are regular courses also. So, if you have your friends or someone who is in the second PUC and taking up what graduation and engineering, you can please refer our college. Okay, this is as instructed by HOD ma'am and the college. So, fine. This I wanted to bring up. Ah, fine. I was in the copyrights topic. So I was creating a website for that AI. I wanted an image like brain and all that, right? So I tried to copy that image, and there are so many. If you browse and say images on AIML, even now you can see there are plenty of images. So can I copy that image and put her in a website? Is it possible? Nothing will happen. Yes. Are you getting my point? We have our department website. I need an image. Yes, I can copy any image from the net and paste it within my website. Yes. No. Mohammed Saif. No, Saif, you cannot. Yes, you people do. You copy any image and paste it and send it across. Legally, ethically, it is not correct. Yes, like your friend said. Yes, Saif, fine, it is okay. Like your friend said, it depends upon the copyrights or licensing. Most of the images are sometimes they would have said copyrighted. It means you cannot use. Some of them they would have said annotated or something like that. It means that annotation required. It means that you can use this image, but you have to tell the source of this image is from so and so, right? Some of them will have their own logo when they have created that image. They will say use our logo. Now, even if I use them, I may not get caught. Let's say they will not come and check me. But ethically, it is wrong. Did you understand now what is ethics? I should give them their due. So maybe I give an annotation. I tell I got this from so and so, something like that. Hmm? So this is about intellectual property rights. It may be patents, it may be copyrights. Can patent be used for personal purpose, nothing commercial? See, type of patent is if you are the owner of your patent. Whoever asked it, I just forgot their name. Kamal Nayan. Yeah. See, there are two things with respect to patent. Assume you come up with a patent for some technology. Yes, you can use it for your own commercial purpose. 100% allowed. You can sell your patent to a company. That is also possible. Or you can gift your patent to someone. You can give your rights, or they say loyalty rights, even though some singer or some person who has sung has already died, or they have long back gone, their kids or grandkids will have, right, will have the property rights associated with it. It is like that usually. Okay, I will tell you, whenever if you come up with a patent for others, if you want to listen, if you come up with a patent, it is valid for 15 years. Okay, you will be holding that patent for 15 years. Till then you can sell it or use it for your own purpose. After that, it will not be held public, general public, anyone can use it. Got it? Kamal Nayan. See, you should have the rights, patent rights. You should get the patent rights from that. Monetary or without monetary, it is left to the patent holder. You have to get the rights to use that patent technology. Yes, for your personal purpose, he should give you the authorization. Yes, Kamal, did I answer your question? Kamal? Yes. Yes, it is left to you. You will acknowledge them if they are open for public, if they have given it for general public use, then you can use it. Maybe they'll ask you to give a annotation or something like that. I've used so and so, acknowledgement kind. Yes, credit. Yes, it depends upon the owner of the patent. It is all entirely dependent upon the patent owner, what he wants to do. Next topic in ethics is computer misuse. Now, misuse means I'm not doing some antisocial activities or something like that. It is not only one type of misuse. The other type of misuse is you are using your employer's machine to play games or something like that. Now, company is given you machine so that you work from home. Laptop is given. Now you give it to your kids and all to play, or ask your kids work to be done with your office laptop. That is the use of your resources, company resources. So this is also one type of ethical issues which you have to take care of. Fine. All the four things. First one is confidentiality, second one is competence, third one is intellectual property rights, fourth one is computer misuse. Okay. Now, next class, from next class, I will do 1.5, 1 hour, 45, 1 hour, 15 minutes class. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I'll ask someone to talk about any of the topic I discussed in the previous day. So, tomorrow, I have, or day after tomorrow, whenever I have, who wants to give, you can volunteer. If you don't volunteer, I will select some person. I will make sure that person who gives will get one extra mark in your internal. Okay. So someone wants to volunteer, or shall I select someone? No one wants to volunteer. Huh? I'm telling I will give you one marks extra. Anan Ananya. Okay, Ananya. Next week. I'm sorry, next class, 15 minutes I will give whatever today I did. In that you can select and give for 5-10 minutes. It is enough. Okay. Fine, Ananya? Okay. Next. Now, there is ACM and IEEE Code of Ethics. Now, they are two institutes like there is a what is this ACM? I hope IEEE and all they are kind of joint force which work on this computer um, society. Okay, it is like a computer society. They work on the rules and everything. So these ACM and IEEE they have come up with a code of ethics. So there are 8 principles that are related to code of ethics, which is given in ACM and IEEE. Now, for the code of ethics, they have come up with 8 principles. So whenever they are asking you in the exam, you should be able to explain the first four. What I did, confidentiality, competence. You can remember it as C square IC, confidentiality, competence, intellectual property rights, and computer misuse. Okay, those four. Along with that, you have 8 principles that is defined by this ACM and IEEE. Okay, what are these 8 principles? These 8 principles are for software engineers, like practitioners, educators. It may not be software who are developing software, people who are in teaching field, those who are practitioners, managers, supervisors, policymakers, that is policymakers inside the company or outside the company, trainees, students, for everyone this is applicable. What are these principles? So you can remember this. Okay, there is a preamble that what it means, these 8 principles, and what this ACM and IEEE joint force means. Yeah, please tell your friends it's already 12 o'clock and you are still entering the session room. See, from next class, if you're doing like this, I will block, I will not allow you people. Okay? What is this? I will be in my PPT. There is nothing that I don't want to allow. Problem is, I will be in my PPT browsing through it. Now, by the time I go back to my meet and again PPT, what happens is the computer here in college is very slow. So I will not be able to switch between the apps. That's the reason. So this preamble, it tells what this is about. You can read it, all of you. Okay. These are the 8 principles. First one is public. First one says software engineers shall act consistently with public interest. Yes, you should be consistent with your public. Next is client and employer. Software engineers shall act in a manner that is in the best interest of their client and employer, consistent with the public interest. Now, can you tell me what does this mean, sir? Okay, I will only explain. See, who is the client, who is the employer? Let's say, for example, let's take our example in this teaching. You are the client, employer is DSATM. In between, I am the teacher. Okay, I should act in a manner in the best interest of the client and the employer. Let's take, for example, now, what example shall I give? Now, the college says something. So, okay, fine. You have to, let's say, for example, yes, sir, you have to take from 9:30 to 4:30 on Saturdays also, or maybe you extend the class till 5:30. Yes. Now, employer has their own reasons. Next, client. As a student, I should you also will have reasons. Yes, from morning till evening, ma'am. How can we listen to classes? Yes or no? So you also have some issues. The employer also has the issues. In between, I am there. I have to listen to the employer. Okay, I have to listen. Then you are my students. Yes, I have to think about the students' benefit and interest also. Now, I should be in such a way that, or I should come out of the situation or come up with a solution such that it is best for both for the client as well for the employer. Let's say, for example, I say, okay, fine, I will do on some other morning days, or if there was some lab or someone was not there, I will take up classes at that time. Something I have to come up with so that it is in the best interest of both the client and the employers. Did you get my point? So this is one thing which is most commonly which is suffered by software engineers. Now the company will say, yes, we will finish off within 10 days the product. But the software engineer knows very well that it takes minimum 15 days. Now he cannot directly tell the client. Now he has to. Now he can't tell the employer that I will not do. Now he has to convince the employer as well as the client that yes, maybe we can do it in 12 days, but we can do like something like, yeah, better features, properly tested, all that. So he should be like work in the best interest of both of them. Fine. Next is, any doubts in this? So I hope you understand who is client, who is employer, and who is software engineers. Fine. Yeah, that is where the problem arises. If the company breaks the ethics, the software engineer, should he listen to the company or he should quit the company? Are you getting my point? Some company asks you to release a product without properly testing, or let's say the company is, you know that your software is not secure enough. I develop a software for a company. I am a software engineer. I know it is not secure enough, but the manager says, yes, release it, yes, finish, release it, everything is good, say it is okay to the client. But will you listen to the company people, break, or will you listen to your ethics? If you don't listen to the company, they will, yes, lay you off. You will lose your job. That is why they say he should come up with the best situation. Best situation in the sense he must convince the higher ups that this is not the right idea or this may happen, or come up with a workaround. Something like that has to be done. Always it is not possible, but up to an extent he can try. Kamal? Did I answer your question? Yes, 100% of the times you cannot be ethical. It's very difficult. Once you work for someone, you will understand. Once you work for someone or you have your own company, I mean, every time it is difficult. Have you ever faced the same issue as a student? I'm, sh- I'm sure you should have faced. Yes or no? Never thought about it. Anyone else? Let's say, for example, you don't want to copy in your internals, okay, and you want to be very prompt. But you see, all of them are getting out, but you are getting only less, right? At that time, what do you do? Okay, golden words, noted. Actually, I want to see all your faces. Okay, let's see. Let's hope the offline classes begin at the earliest, and I can see you all. How humble you are, how good you are. Yeah. Yes, Saif. Fine. But anyway, Anil sir has told you students are very good and everything. So I believe his words, and I am also under the same impression. Very obedient, very good students is what sir has said. From next year, why you don't want to come this year for classes, or you don't want to take exams also? Okay, guys. So let's stop there. Let's continue, because if I keep on talking, I can talk about this examples and give this tip one full class. But actually, I'm lagging behind my portion, so I'll be quicker. But anywhere, if you feel that, ma'am, we are not able to give us examples or explain more, please let me know. I will be more than happy. But when I consider the other class and all, I feel that I am going a little bit slow. So that's why I thought I will do be a bit fast. That's it. But you are always welcome to let me know if I'm going too fast, and you need more explanation. Okay, fine. So judgment. Yes, this is what Kamal. Software engineers should maintain integrity and independence in their professional judgment. Yes, he has to take a decision whether he will go with the client or the employer or what he wants to do. Okay. Management. Software engineering managers and leaders shall subscribe to and promote ethical approach to the management of software development and maintenance. Yes, not only like your friend said, software engineers being ethical, the management should support and encourage. Now, if the management says no, you do like this only, otherwise I will move you from the job, naturally you can't maintain your ethics. Right? So it is always the job of the management to support. Okay. Fine. So it depends upon the management. Next, profession. Software engineer shall advance the integrity and reputation of the profession consistent with the public interest. So he has to be professional. That is what it means. Next, colleagues. He should be fair and supportive of their colleagues. Now, this is also a part of ethics. Like it is not like you pull your colleagues down or tell them something and you grow up or something like that. You should help and be fair with your colleagues. That's it. Self. Software engineers shall participate in lifelong learning regarding the practice of their professional and shall promote an ethical approach to the practice of profession. Yes, they should incorporate lifelong learning. It is not that today they learn and forget. They should learn and participate and promote. So these are the 8 principles. Now, this is one of the common questions in your exam as well as internals. If I give the first internals, if I set the question paper, someone was asking, ma'am, will you tell important points or will you tell the questions? I will tell you to now. If I set the question paper, this question will 100%ly be there. Software engineering ethics. When I ask this question, see, I may ask what is ABC. I may ask define ABC. I may twist that only and ask in 3 or 4 different ways. All of you listen. Whatever they ask about software engineering ethics, even if they say give ACM and IEEE, whatever they ask, you have to answer. Your answer should contain some 2 or 3 general points. Then, about the 4 things, CCIC, that is confidentiality, competence, intellectual property rights, and computer misuse. Those 4. Along with that, these 8 points: public, client, employer, product, judgment, management, profession, colleagues, self. How you by heart it, I don't know. I hope now, see, all of you, if you know that 8 words, can't you write on your own about each of them from what I have explained? A single line, can't you write? Yes or no reply. That is what I'm trying to tell you. In exam, it will not be easy for you. You have to by heart those 8 points. Can't you by heart it? Leave 2 or 3 and start writing. Imagine one line you forgot, the fourth one judgment. What will I do? Make you think for half an hour and sit there in the examination hall? If you do that, you will flunk. Leave 4 words, leave that space. You know it is a single word. Leave that much space. Go to the next one. Don't waste your time in the exam thinking about some point you have missed. Did you get it? Maybe at the end you have enough time. If you don't know the correct one, try to put something there. Otherwise, don't waste your time in software engineering exam. You cannot complete the question paper. So, did I answer how to answer these questions or in essay for this one? So you write these things and you do it. It will be more than a single page, 2 pages. Someone said how we can write 2 pages. Remember these points. Write about these points. And then anything else? Any doubts in this? So this is a very important question. Please remember. I'll give you 2 minutes. Read it. By then I can drink a little bit of water. So shall I continue with the next topic? Okay. Yes, there is. These are dilemmas. Come on, you can only read out. This is what your friend said. Disagreement in principle with policies of senior management. Employer asks, safety critical, without testing, release it. But you are in no way don't want to release what you want to do. Participation in development of military weapons systems and nuclear system. This is one thing. Yes, this point you can someone say? Did you get this point? What does it mean? All of you? It means that, let's say, for example, I am working on a development for some product which works on military thing. But you are a person who does not, yes, you don't want to, yes, you don't want to take that or burden on your play or something like that. You're kind of a person who does not want to do that. So, there, what do you do? See, either people say it's very difficult and very tricky situation. Like you either leave or you have to work there. It's something which you like to work, but you don't want to do something. So all this is a dilemma. It depends upon the software person. Let's say, for example, even some of the companies which uh, do this political data analysis or some data analysis, you are a person who is apolitical, or you don't believe in those concepts, but still you have to work on that project and you're not interested. It is something like you're not interested in some work and they ask you to do. What will you do? You do it or quit it. This is what it is. So yeah, they you have to decide. Let's say I can give you for your example. Now COVID is going on. The government says or the VTU says come to college and write exam. Yeah, your back paper. Or for me also, there is COVID and the college says come and do in the college. Now, what am I supposed to do? Should I do it or should I not do it? It is all individuals' decision. Fine. Okay. Any things else? Shall I go to the next topic if we are done? Okay. Let's go to next one. The next topic is case studies. What do you mean by what is this case studies topic? See, in your software engineering, I am giving random examples involving me, you, or some software company, Infosys I'm taking. In your textbook, whenever they are giving examples for a software product, now they are not giving random examples like this. They are taking three examples. What are these three examples you will learn? Now, this is only about those examples, what they are explaining in this case studies. How they apply the software engineering principles to these use cases will be in your entire textbook. Something like requirements gathering or software development or designing or testing. How will I design? How will I do testing? So, that testing they explain with this examples, and they have considered only three examples here. One is a personal insulin pump. I will explain to you today. We will learn what this example means. That's it. Later in software, see what happens. Why are you learning now? Now somewhere in chapter 10th class or something like that, day after tomorrow, there may be some example they are telling. That example will be related to this use case. Okay, so I want all of you to understand this use case. Somewhere if I say after 5 classes, in the insulin pump example, So then it refers to this use case. If I say mental health patient management system, then it refers to this use case. If I say weather station example, then it refers to this use case. So before giving uh, going to actual that software engineering, they will explain these examples, and wherever required they will explain the software engineering principles with respect to these examples. So what are these examples? One is personal insulin pump. What is this? It is very simple. Okay, any person without much knowledge can understand. Here, it is an embedded system in an insulin pump used by diabetics to maintain their blood glucose control. I hope all of you have a knowledge of diabetics systems, right? People who have sugar, that is what we call, right? Diabetics, and what they take something like tablet or something, and even if it is more, they take insulin. So the use case is about see, there is a sensor. The job of the sensor is that is put within the person or the patient. All of you, please understand this example properly. Next class, I will example or use case. I hope this is just like a story, some requirement I'm telling, problem. So, a person is having diabetes. For them, we have come up with this product called personal insulin pump. What does this product do? The product has a sensor. That sensor is embedded within the person's body. So, what does this sensor do? This sensor takes the blood sample. After taking the blood sample, it checks for the sugar level or insulin level or glucose level. Now, after checking that, it determines the level of the glucose, right? Now, once it determines the level, it will come up with the appropriate amount of insulin required based on the sugar level. Are you getting my point? Not only the current sugar level, but also the previous when they took the medicine. That log is also maintained. Now, let's say, for example, he measures the sugar, blood sugar level now, and I get the insulin or glucose level. Then, before giving the insulin, how much amount of insulin or medication to give, it will check when was the previous insulin given and how much was given. Based on that, it will calculate the current insulin level. Are you getting my point? The current insulin level is calculated and injected to the person. Isn't it easy? Yes, isn't that easy? Now, apply that whatever I taught you to the diagram here. I will give you how many minutes? 2 minutes. I hope all of you understood what I said. Now, there is nothing rocket science in it. Assume I have a sugar problem. Now, you are developing a product for me. What does your product do? It will have a sensor. Naturally, right? It should measure the sugar level. So, you need to collect the blood. So, there is a sensor which will collect the blood or read the blood. Okay. So, that blood, yes, Kamal. So, that sensor will collect the blood and then it will measure the sugar level. Once the sugar level is determined, you should give the insulin based on the sugar level. Not only on the current insulin level, it will take when was the previous medication given. So the previous medication along with the amount of medication given and the current level, it will use all that data and calculate the amount of insulin to be given. Once the insulin is calculated, the new amount of insulin is calculated, that will be injected to the person. Fine. This is what the product should do. Are all of you clear with the example? Fast. Tomorrow I will ask any one of you. Now apply what I taught you to the diagram what I have given. Or let's say, for example, apply that to this flow diagram. Now, someone said, products, ma'am, I will do a drawing of this, that. See, for a software product, also, you can draw a diagram. See this diagram and tell me what I explained. Isn't it applicable or isn't it very true with this diagram? Doesn't this diagram convey what I said? I want all of you to go through this diagram, and tomorrow or now I will ask. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. I will give you 2 minutes. Analyze how it flows. Now, was it difficult or is it fine? Were you able to understand or was it difficult? Come on, I want everyone's answer. Understood, ma'am. I want everyone. Now, tell me who did not understand. Anyone who did not understand. All of you, I can ask anyone in the class now out of 80 students, they will explain. Okay. One point I want to make you clear is any software you are developing, a game or anything, it can be represented it can be represented pictorially. Do you agree with me now? There are different diagrams like this which can be used to represent a software product. One thing I wanted to convey is that the next is now how does this work? Even though I asked you to read, today I will explain. Tomorrow I will ask any one of you to explain it. Okay? Now, fine. Here, it starts here. There is a blood sensor. Now, see, blood sensor will get the current sugar value. I analyze the sensor reading and then get the blood sugar level, right? Then I compute the insulin based on the sugar. I compute the insulin. Not only this is the current value of the insulin, I will get from the log what was the previous given and how much I've given. Be so using the current and the previous I get it from log. I get the dosage. Once I get the dosage, I will compute the pump command. So the commands will compute the pump and I will pump the data. Pump the data means pump the insulin. The controller, that is the actually the hardware device, will pump the insulin. So insulin data is pumped here to the person. So here in this you have so many things. First is sensor. Sensor is to measure your blood sugar level. Controller is the person who will work on this. Okay, he will get the data from the sensor and he will get the data from the log and all that. So the controller is that, the code or the whatever the logic you have come up. So it will calculate it, the insulin level, then use the pump to pump the insulin. So this pump will in turn use the needle assembly. So this will be a hardware. Sensor will also be a hardware. Controller will be a software. Pump can be a hardware. Okay. It will get the timings and all. Alarm means controller assume what is the use of this alarm. So assume the sugar or something went way below the, I mean the sugar level went very high or very low. So it is the job of the controller to set an alarm and do an appropriate thing. So the controller is the main thing here. And internet has a display. This is for monitoring. Fine. Am I clear with the two diagrams? Anyone has any doubts? What is the use of the clock? Yeah, what time it was given? Saif, what time previously it given, as well as log, it will also tell how much it was given and all that. So if you give now, then the time will be recorded. That is the use of the clock. So this is about that. I don't have to read it out again. So by the time you read, so what is the requirements it is given here? I'll go to the next slide. The next case is a patient information system for mental health care. I want you to read it and I will explain it. Or if you can read and someone can explain, by then I will take attendance for your class. Yes, understood, or you want me to explain? Okay, I'll come to the next slide. You can read this also. So many places in your textbook they will say MHC and PMS, that is mental health care patient management system. So how many of you understood? Or let's say, okay, fine, let me explain. I don't want you to. Now, what is this patient and mental health care system? Now, basically, this is for people who are it is basically a system that is used for people who are suffering from mental diseases. Now, here basically what happens is everywhere there are, rather than every time they going to the hospital, there will be clinics set up. So what does these clinics do is they will have a front end, they will have a access to the server wherein all the data of the patient data, all the details about the patients will be kept. So the server will have the patient details, and what do these clinics do is they get the data from the server, like about the patient when he visited last time, what were the medication taken, and all that. So the use of this is rather than the patient going every time to the hospital, he can attend the clinics nearby and whoever doctor is available. Not only that, the doctors will get the data from the centralized environment. When it is kept in a centralized environment, you might say security, but also because it is kept in a server, it will be secure enough. They will download the data when they want. They update the information whenever the patient visits, like what medication, what was given, and so on. The use of this is if some other patient or if that patient goes to another clinic to a another clinic to a, some other doctor, then that doctor can take the data from the server, which doctor previously he went through, what was the medication, all that. So the data is available in a centralized environment. Now, this will be helpful to the patient because he can go anywhere, whichever is convenient to him. This is convenient to the management or the hospital because they will can get the data regarding who logged in, how much they used, what is the prescription used, or what is the cost, and how much cost they have incurred, or how much medicine is required. All that statistics they can get from a centralized environment. Let's say they need to get so and so medication was used how much in a month, so they can use from the server, from all doctors, all patient, how much they have taken this medicine. They can get the details directly. So it is useful to the management or the hospitals. Now the next is how it is useful to the doctors. Now the doctors, suppose a new case comes, they have not worked on it, they can see in the server data how many patients had suffered with similar symptoms, what medication that doctor had given, some experienced doctor had given. They can build an analogy. So this system will be useful both for the patient, I mean all the patient, the doctors, and the management system. So this is about a mental health care system, and the diagram for this is here. See, the patient database will be stored in a server. This is the database, okay, and that is access to a server through different clients, or these are all clinics. This is something like hospital which has the server and the database. They will accept the data, get the data, make the changes or something, update in the server or the database. Suppose the same patient here is goes to the next clinic next time. Now they cannot say that we don't have your data or get all your reports. No, They can get the data from the server and they can see when he last visited what medication. Even if the patient has forgotten, the clinic here the can get the data that much. Did you get my point? So this is nothing but centralized data management example. Yes, when you are using this now, someone can log in and take the data. You might say that is data privacy or data confidentiality is breached. Only person who is authenticated within these clinics, only them they can access the data. Fine. Now, what you read and what you are seeing in the diagram, were you able to understand? Okay. So tomorrow everyone in this class will be able to explain. Can I be a so here individual care unit. Key features of this example are clinics can create records for patient, edit information, everything. Monitoring, they can monitor the record, treatment warnings. That is, in case a particular patient is not coming to the clinic, so they can monitor that. So this is for the hospital. They can come up with a monthly management reports treated in each clinics, drugs prescribed, who came, who left, number of patients who are suffering, all that analysis they can do. Next is concerns are privacy, confidential data may be misused, safety, next is wilderness weather station. So I want you to read it out, then I will explain. So the next use case is wilderness weather station. Now here what happens is the government has to whatever the government or any has to study the weather report from a different weather stations. So the weather stations collect the data from a set of instruments and there is okay I will explain this diagrams. So there are weather stations. So these weather stations are in different geographical locations. They may be like devices or anything like that to collect the data. Maybe like how much rain has happened here. It is for collecting the like weather data or something like that. How much? Yeah, I hope yeah, weather report you get, right, what and all are the parameters. So this weather station is at different geographical locations which is used to get those data. Next I have data management and archiving system. So they collect the data from these stations. Now like maybe you get a report, right, this year so the rainfall is so much percentage, less than the previous year, or this year we received the highest rainfall in 20 years and all. So that is done by this data management and archiving. So this data management and archiving will collect the data from the weather stations, and they will keep it in the format. I mean, they will keep a log of all the data for analysis. So they will keep this data, and we can analyze the data like how many year, what happened, so and so during this month of this year, so much rainfall is came. So this is something like done by this data management system, data management and archiving system. Next we have is system maintenance. This system can communicate with the satellite and monitor the health of the weather stations. Now let's say for example in weather station I have a device for monitoring the current rainfall in a day. Okay, now suppose it is not working properly. How do I get it? I get it from the station maintenance. So the station maintenance, what it is nothing but something like a satellite or something, wherein this maintenance, an example may be a satellite to monitor the weather stations. So assume this is not getting there are so many weather station in 10 different locations. Suppose this in weather station 1 I am not getting proper data. So who I will take care of it? It is taken care by the station maintenance. Station maintenance will get to know which station is not working properly, and will take necessary action so that it works properly. Fine. So weather station in different geographical locations. This is like a centralized data which takes all the data and stores the data. If something is not working properly, it is taken care by station maintenance. Fine. So next slide, you can read this. By then I will ask your attendance. I want everyone just tell P and your USN you can type. Okay. Answer your attendance. USN 1. Just say P and 1 so that I can remember your USNs here. Otherwise, someone will be fast and someone will be slow. That's the only reason. Who? 3. 3 is absent. Okay. 4. 5. 5. USN 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 12. 13. 14. 15. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 24. 25. 26. 27. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. 39. 40. 40. 41. 42. 43. 44. 45, 46, 47, 47, 48, 49, 50, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. Yes, 30, okay. 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 27. Yes, present, sir. 65, 64, okay. 66, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73. Okay, 66, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 84, 85, 85 also absent, 86, 87, 85 is present, okay. 88 is present, 89, 89, 90. Anyway, 90 is not there. Okay, once again, I will say people who are absent, your sense. 3 absent, 5 absent. In case if you are there, please say present. Type it. 7, 15, 18, 27 present, madam. 25 present. No, 25 absent. 18 is present. Okay. 25, 40, 47, 50, 84, 89, 90. Okay, rest are all present. Any doubts? 73 is present. Okay, sir. Any doubts? 73 I have marked present. Okay. Shall we wind up the class today? Okay, next class, I want you have a homework. You will prepare, all of you will prepare for the 3 use cases. I don't think it will require more than 10 15 minutes to learn and come. So anyone I ask, you should on your microphone and tell the use case. And Ananya, you will give whatever you want to give. Most probably, I would suggest you give on ethics. Okay, next class, 15 minutes, we will do this. Fine? Okay, guys. Thank you all.